everybody. Okay, so my room is a complete and utter mess, so don't look behind me. I wanted to make this tutorial because for those of you that don't know, I used to be a makeup artist. Around 2 years ago, I was doing makeup professionally. I stopped when all this crazy internet thing happened, and then I've always loved it, and it just kind of was tugging at me, so I started doing makeup professionally again. I started my makeup Instagram, which I will put here and down below, and when I started my makeup Instagram back up, I got a lot of requests for tutorials, and when I asked which tutorials you guys wanted to see, the number one was a tutorial for oily skin in humid, hot summer days, hence the title. So I decided that I was going to do this tutorial, but this tutorial is geared toward people with oily skin and that have acne. You could just use this if you have oily skin without acne, but I have acne, so it's kind of for people with acne. The lighting that I did the tutorial in is not this lighting. I wanted to step in front of a window so you guys could see like the natural lighting. A couple of things that I wanted to mention before this tutorial starts is number one, I am gonna start doing a lot of beauty tutorials on this channel. If that's something that you don't like, I'm sorry. I'll try to make them as entertaining as possible, but right now makeup is like all I can think about. So although comedy is my shtick, makeup is my gift. Ooh, Tupac. Number two, I have not done any updated everyday makeup tutorial or anything since the makeup tutorial I did a long time ago because showing my bare face on camera is a huge fear of mine. Reason being, I have acne. I've had adult acne since I was 18 years old, so 4 years of having acne sucks. I know a lot of people have it longer and I don't have it that bad, so I am completely blessed, but it is a vulnerability of mine. I've noticed that on these acne coverage tutorials, a lot of men specifically, I have noticed, this is not stereotyping, like I've literally noticed that a lot of men feel the need to come on these tutorials and be like, wow, you guys are tricking us. This is why you gotta take a bitch swimming the first date. Number one, I would not go swimming with you anyway. And number two, that is completely disrespectful to the people that have to deal with acne for so many years. Acne is really debilitating. It really ruins your self-esteem, and it is something that you really, for the most part, oftentimes cannot control. So it's really insensitive for people to come on here and say like, oh, you looked so ugly before and you're tricking everyone with that makeup. This is not for you guys. Makeup is not to impress people. Especially when you have acne, makeup becomes a sort of confidence booster and something that you really need after so many years of just noticing people just looking at things on your face and all this, and it's nice to just be able to put something on and people are looking at you for who you really are. And it's sad that that's what we have to do, but look at the society we live in. If you're not flawless, then you're disgusting. This tutorial is for the people that are dealing with the same things that I'm dealing with. I also realized the importance of me doing this because so many people comment on my Instagram and say, wow, you have amazing skin, wow, you're flawless. And no, I am absolutely not. I am very flawed, and I wanted to show that to you guys so that you can understand that you're not alone. Anyway, I rambled on for long enough. I hope you guys enjoy, and I hope that this is helpful for you. Surprise, I have acne. So does like 95% of the world. The number one most important thing when you're going out, when you're gonna be sweating, when you wanna control your oil in general, is to moisturize. I know that sounds completely counterintuitive because you're like, wait, if I moisturize and I'm oily, it doesn't make sense, but it does. So I always use Hope in a Jar by Philosophy. This is like my baby. Get this shit. The next step is to obviously prime your face. What I used to prime my face the entire weekend was the Skin Prep Pro from Mayron. Mayron is a stage makeup company. This is not meant for everyday use, but I did use this around 4 to 5 days consecutively. It did not break me out. All it did was completely help me control my oil and keep my shit under control. Now this is intense shit. I'm gonna show you how to use it. You can get this off of Amazon. It's cheap. I'm gonna link it down below. So I get like a little cotton pad and I wet it pretty generously. And then I literally like tap it around my entire face, especially around my nose. In between my eyebrows gets like mad oily. Now this stuff is intense. When it starts drying, you're gonna feel your skin tightening, like legit tightening. It's kind of crazy. Damn, I am breaking out. What you gonna do? Ooh, yeah, it's tightening. It is tightening, ladies and gentlemen. If you guys could see my makeup table right now, it is disgustingly messy. When you're choosing a foundation for summertime or a day that's gonna be really hot and humid, completely matte is like no good. Even if you have oily skin, you have to put something luminous back into your skin because when the sunlight hits, when it gets really hot, you're gonna look like a birthday cake if all you have is just like flat matte foundation. Where the hell did I put? I lose everything. Fuck my life. Found it. I knew it was under my bed. So I like to mix two foundations. These are ones that I practically use every day. Number one, I always apply with a damp beauty blender. This is your best friend. I use two foundations. I use the L'Oreal Infallible foundation, a little bit of the L'Oreal True Match Lumi. I know Lumi sounds a little bit scary because like I don't want to illuminate my acne, but you do. You want to make sure that your face is just nice and hydrated looking. Oh shit, that's dark. So I'm just gonna do this on a little mirror. Sorry if that like annoys you guys. So basically you want to wait for your primer to completely dry and then you want to start patting this foundation on. I get a pretty good amount. I need a lot of coverage, but I don't want to get all my coverage from my foundation. I am going to be using a concealer, so like don't worry too much about the coverage with the foundation, but you really want to even out the skin tone, start taking away the redness. Yeah, just pat, don't like swipe. So I basically work in really fine layers. You don't want to like cake it all on at once. You want to just do it little by little. I mean, relax, girl. Take your time. It's the summer. And you want to make sure you get like your hairline, by your ears. You want to take it down your neck because especially if you're outside, you don't want the foundation line, girl. That ain't cute. Even when you think it's blended, I just keep blending. Like sometimes I'll just be talking to someone and I'll just keep doing this like over and over again. Before I do this next step, I'll just talk about it while I continuously blend this because I just blend forever and ever and ever. Controlling your oil and hiding acne or whatever in the summer or whatever is kind of confusing because it's a mixture of controlling your oil but also making sure your skin is really well hydrated. When your skin is not well hydrated, it's going to try to compensate for that dryness by producing more oil. So that's why you put the moisturizer underneath and we're going to continue to hydrate even after we've already put on our foundation. So I don't know if you can see, like just that first layer helped a bitch out, you know what I mean? Okay, concealer. Where is it? God, now I lost my concealer. You know how like you organize your makeup table and then like 2 seconds later, poof. This is a concealer that I used at Bonnaroo that I've been continuing to use all of summer. It's really lightweight, really good coverage, doesn't crease. It's just really, really natural. This is Urban Decay's Naked Skin Concealer. So what I do with this is I highlight the shit out of my under eyes. Hello, Kim Kardashian. Normally, honestly, I wouldn't put this directly on my acne, but you know what? I am too lazy right now. Fuck that shit. So I grab a beauty blender and I literally just blend that in. So the same concealer that I use under my eyes, I use on my spots. People choose their concealer differently. I just so happen to use the same concealer that I use under my eyes, I use on my pimples, unless I'm self-tan. So if I've been spray tanning and my skin is really tan, then I'll highlight with this and I'll use a little bit darker of a concealer on my spots because I don't want my spots to be like white. I'm not a big fan of putting like a vastly different bright color under my eyes. It's kind of just a tiny bit lighter than my skin, so I have no problem right now using it on my spots. One thing that I want to stress is you do not have to have your acne completely covered at this point. I know that a lot of people want their acne to be completely covered with the foundation and the concealer, but when you layer concealer on top of concealer on top of concealer until something's covered, it's gonna really create a cakey effect. Ain't nobody got time for that. So this is my little tip. I don't know if you guys can see that, but I still have acne that is, you know, a little bit red. So I usually grab 2 powders. One that's more, not necessarily my skin tone, maybe just like a teeny bit darker, and one that's like super duper light. And I grab a really dense brush. This is a Zoeva concealer buffer brush, and I pick up a little bit of both, mainly the light one and like kind of a dab of the darker one. You don't want to like move it around too much, so I kind of pat first and then I lightly sweep. I set the under eyes first because that shit will be melting off if you don't. Then I grab the same like mixture, and if I see a pimple, let me try to like get real close. Sorry about the lighting. I'm trying to figure out my shit with these tutorials, so just bear with me. And if I see a pimple, like this one's kind of scabbed, right? So I just basically tap over it. I know this seems scary and like it's gonna come out looking weird and crazy, but it won't. So I literally just tap it. I usually like tap it from all angles, and you're gonna have like a psh of powder. It's gonna be okay. So I do that all over. And the reason why I do this is because if you just start getting a powder brush and start setting it or even swirling it or whatever, it's gonna disturb the coverage that we just did. So you wanna make sure that each spot is individually set. And that way when you do go over your face with powder, it will not move. And the whole day, it will not move. This isn't going to necessarily hide texture, but when you hide the redness from kind of like all angles, it's going to camouflage it way more. We are going to powder our entire face. Now, I don't like to necessarily do the thickest layer of powder, but it's not necessarily the thinnest layer of powder. Don't be alarmed by putting powder on your face. I know it sounds like it's just gonna be cakey, but it will honestly look even cakier if you just walk out and don't set it and then you start melting, and literally your foundation will start melting. I pick up, you know, a generous amount of powder, and I basically just start swirling it I make sure to get, like, I really put it on my ears, like a lot on my ears. I have really oily skin, but I don't necessarily go in with like a shit ton. I'll just kind of get a little bit for each section and really buff it in. But you want to make sure that every section is covered. Now, I know this kind of sounds like weird. You're like, wait, we put a luminous product on and now you're setting it with a, like a mattifying powder. That doesn't make sense. It does, okay? For me, it's all about the layers. So if you put luminosity in one of the first layers and then you just start building up, it just makes everything look more natural. And I find that the luminous foundations sit on the face like a little bit more naturally, but I can't just use a luminous foundation. Next thing I do, this is my best friend, Fix Plus or Primer Water from Smashbox or whatever tickles your pickle. I spray a lot of this, okay? I am constantly layering this on. Depending on how much you think you need to create more of a hydrated look, spray this shit on your face, girl. Just make sure it dries before you move on to your next step. So, breathe. I just kind of feel it out and I fan it out. Like I said before, we're just creating layers of hydration and mattification in the nation. This is like a pool on my face. It feels so good though. These are the things that when you go out into the world on a hot, humid summer day are going to save you from looking like a birthday cake, girlfriend. But I know what it's like to need coverage when you have acne and you don't want to go out on a hot summer day with a tinted moisturizer. I've never used a tinted moisturizer in my life. That is not enough coverage for your girl. One of the hardest parts for me to learn, and I'm still learning, is bronzer when you're going out, because one step too far and boom, you look like you just rolled around in the dirt. What I found works best for me is I don't necessarily like to contour. I like to add bronze to my face. Contouring is amazing for the nighttime. I don't think contouring is amazing for the daytime. I'm gonna use Refined Golden by MAC with this Morphe E3 brush. I get a healthy amount of that product. Tap it off. Ooh, lose my brush flying in the air. I even like take some off of my hand because I'd rather build up bronzer than look like I got hit by an Oompa Loompa. I basically just start right here, like where I would contour, and I start gently like doing circular motions. This is for my girls who have acne in the place where you contour. Girl, I feel you. Forgive me if I end up looking like an Oompa Loompa. I cannot really see in this tiny mirror. This is something that is completely up to you to decide on how much bronzer you want, how little bronzer you want. It really is personal preference. For me, I don't like that much, but I like bronzer on for sure. I don't just like walking out with blush. For me, on my face, it looks weird. Make sure to like get it by your ears, and then I put it on my temples, run it down my neck, put it on my nose. The newer one of these is probably in the abyss. I'm not even gonna try to find it. This is NYX's blush in Terracotta. This is NYX B26 flat top small brush. I like this brush or any dual fiber stippling brush because it does not pick up that much product. So again, do the back of the hand because you don't wanna go balls to the wall with your blush. And basically, I just start like doing little circular motions. I like this blush because it's kind of close to, not a bronzer, but it blends really well with a bronzer. I find that when it's daytime, I don't want to put like a really pink blush on. You kind of want to look as natural in the face as you possibly can. This blush is actually kind of like luminescent, which I was always scared of, but no matter if I have a pimple on my cheek, whatever, I use this and I've always found it makes it look really good. You don't want to start using all matte products because you're scared that things are going to highlight your acne. If you have one or two pimples showing through, you're human, who cares? So do the same thing on the other side. Next is highlight. Thanks to Nikki Tutorials, I am now obsessed with Becca's Shimmering Skin Perfector pressed in Moonstone. I grabbed this Morphe M510 brush, get it lightly, tap it, and I put this right on the top of, you know where a highlight goes, guys, come on. Right on the top. Ooh, yes, Lord. Yes, Lord. Shine bright like a diamond. If it's nighttime, I'll kind of like cook the contour and I'll put like powder on the bottom and then blend it on. But if it's daytime, I don't necessarily want that kind of like harsh contour or anything like that. So I just grab the brush, no extra powder on it, and I start like softly blending the bottom of my bronzer. I find that this is like a really helpful step. And then I go like this and I like dab the blush and even a little bit the highlight and go over all of it just by like tapping it, just subtly blending it all together to make sure that it looks uniformed. Hershey, cojones. Scared the shit out of me. At this point, we're pretty much done with the skin. Before I put on my setting spray, I spray a little bit more of Fix Plus. Just a little bit. Now I'm just gonna go finish the rest of my makeup and I will be right back. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope that that was helpful and I hope that you guys got some tips. Again, this is not for everyone. If this wasn't for you, I'm sorry. Please comment below with something that might be for you that I can help you with. Again, my makeup Instagram is down here. I just want to say that really underneath all the makeup and under everything, it's so important to love who you are besides the acne or whatever your flaw may be. It is so important to love yourself. That will shine through your pores and be the ultimate makeup. So yes, cheesy, whatever, I know, but it's true. He's just gonna keep biting me. Okay. Anyway, I love you guys. Thank you so much for watching and I will see you next time. Bye.